I don't know what it was, but okay. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Sorry about that. We have tech issues here. Not on our part. YouTube, me sitting here staring at a spinning circle. We are using a new microphone, lapel mic this evening, inshallah. So before we begin, if you can just please let me know that that you are getting us loud and clear, inshallah, and there's no problems with the audio. Can you hear me at all?
Sounds great.
Good? Okay. How come you're getting that? I'm not getting that. It just got there. Okay. I think we have some connection issues. Hopefully, inshallah, that doesn't cause any issues today. Okay. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Okay. So, kind of didn't know today if we want to because so we were in Surah Al-Kahf yesterday with Hafiz Basalat, and subhanallah, there is with this qissa to Musa alayhi salam and Khidr or Qadr alayhi salam. And these points, there's some aspects of this qissa which are extremely relevant today. And so we'll just briefly, inshallah, take a few moments to go over the qissa and those aspects, inshallah. It is 9:06, so we are getting a little bit of a late start. And also, starting tomorrow evening, we will begin at 9:15. And 9:15, we will be maintaining that 9:15 time period for the remainder of Ramadan, inshallah. So this will be the final time change. And so 9:15 is it, inshallah, all the way until the end of Ramadan. All right. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So the background here is that Musa alayhi salam, he makes a statement and he says that I am the most knowledgeable person. And this was not out of hubris. This was not out of pride or arrogance. He was not bragging or boasting. He was stating what he believed to be a fact because he was receiving wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So his knowledge, his ilm, is coming directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's receiving sharia through wahi. So regarding what is right and what is wrong and how to do things, he is a rasul, he is a messenger, he is a prophet. So he that is not only a claim that he can make, but it's also that this is part of the responsibility. Part of the responsibility and part of the position is being the most knowledgeable person and being the quote unquote go-to guy. If you want to know how something is supposed to be done, or if you want to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, then for him, he's going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For you and I, we have to go to the messenger, we have to go to the prophet. Peace and blessings be upon each and every one of them. So when he makes this statement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala corrects him and now introduces him, so to say, to an understanding that yes, and in regards to tashri', you have this knowledge that you have been given from wahi, but there is another aspect of knowledge, the takwini aspect, and takwini is coming from kun fayakun. Most everybody is familiar with, especially from the end of Surah Yasin. So kun fayakun, be and it is. So kana yakunu, this kaun, it means to be in existence. Literally, it means to be. So we use this also. The best way to translate the cone is the cosmos. So it is this entire system of the universe, no matter how big and how small, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. And within that system are subsystems. So these systems, they become smaller and smaller and smaller, but there's all these systems that are interwoven and they work in harmony per the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and per, like, if you want to think of them like an overall engine or a machine, and within that engine or machine you have excuse me, you have smaller components and smaller pieces of this engine that they themselves, they serve a function within the machine, but within that piece they also have a system within themselves, like the human body as well. So the human body, you would say that the system of the human body, but then within that system you have the cardiovascular system, you have the pulmonary system, you have the muscular system, and so on and so forth. So this is the cone of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the cosmos of Allah. And within those systems is cause and effect. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought that the cone into being, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maintains it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls it. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lets Musa alayhi salam know that yes, that you are the most knowledgeable person when it comes to Sharia or Sharia. But the knowledge of this system, the cone itself, the cosmos itself, that there is this other individual, and he has been gifted, he has been blessed with this knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you serve Allah as Musa alayhi salam, he is the abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You serve in this capacity, and yes, in this capacity, you are again that go-to guy. But in this other capacity of servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have this individual that is introduced to us here as Khidr alayhi salam. And Khidr is, the whole point of Khidr alayhi salam is that he is given these orders by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and based on this system and the workings of this system, he goes and he does whatever is needed or required. So delicate, you have to be careful how you word these things. You think about it, fine tuning or adjustments that are made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have the normal way things are happening or occurring, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends Khidr alayhi salam to make these special adjustments. So Khidr alayhi salam will do something per the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and per this knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then based upon that, now that cause, as he makes that, as he kind of like plucks on that string or triggers that cause, then the effect comes after that. So the desired effect, which is again per the hikmah, the wisdom and the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now Khidr alayhi salam, he tells Musa alayhi salam, so he says, he tells Musa alayhi salam, innaka, bismillah, qala innaka lan tastati'a ma'iya sabra, that you are not going to be able to be patient with me. And this is also letting us know that this first statement right here, that when Khidr alayhi salam, he's telling Musa alayhi salam, you're not going to be able to be patient with me. Khidr alayhi salam is understanding cause and effect. That's his realm of responsibility. That is the way that he serves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world of cause and effect, and understanding cause and effect, and how these systems are working within each other. And he knows that Musa alayhi salam, he is coming from that realm or that side of the knowledge which is related to law, what is right and what is wrong. So he is understanding that if you're kind of wired this way, and this is the capacity that you are serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is going to be very difficult for you. You are not going to be able to tolerate what I'm doing, because your whole thing is you are coming with law. You are coming with truth. You are coming with reality. You are the representative of that truth and that reality and that law. So that is what you are geared towards. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has raised you to do. And that is what the capacity in which you serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he tells him that you're not going to be able to be patient with me and with what I'm doing. So, and that's the reason why he says, now, وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبَرًا. So you have no news about this. You don't have any information about this. So this is outside of your realm of understanding, this world of cause and effect. So Musa alayhi salam, mashallah, he says, قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا. So Musa alayhi salam, mashallah, Musa alayhi salam, he has this humility, he has this desire to learn, and also to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and even in a greater capacity. So this is one of those lessons for us, also this humility that Musa alayhi salam, he is Rasulullah, he is Nabi Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done so much for Musa alayhi salam, and as and even and excuse me, as an addition to that, with his brother Harun alayhi salam. But Musa alayhi salam, he is saying like this humility that he approaches this whole learning process, that he is willing to learn, even though his status and his position cannot be questioned. He is willing to learn from somebody else. So this humility that this Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa taala that he has. Now, again, for the sake of time, so we know that the story that we have three different incidents. We have the sinking of the boat that they were on, and then we also have the building of the wall under which was the wealth of the orphans, and then we have the killing of the child, right? So we have all three of these incidents, and each one of these incidents, Musa alayhi salam is unable to remain silent, and he is unable to refrain from questioning Khidr alayhi salam. And this is really what we wanted to get to this evening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with Khidr alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses Khidr alayhi salam within this system of the kawn, within the cosmos. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making certain things happen. And based on those things, that is beyond your understanding of Sharia. So you may understand Sharia. It does not mean that you're going to be able to understand how the all the minutia and all these details of how the cosmos functions. And even Khidr alayhi salam, he's saying that even I don't. I'm given a very specific set of instructions. I carry out those instructions. So when he and Musa alayhi salam were on this boat, and he tells Musa alayhi salam, he says that your knowledge, so I have this knowledge of the kawn, of this takwini knowledge. You have this knowledge of Sharia and Aqidah. We both share the knowledge of Aqidah, but this knowledge of Sharia, you have that. So your knowledge and my knowledge together, and there's this bird that's sitting on the bow of the boat, is dipping its head into the water. It's saying that your knowledge plus my knowledge is like that drop of water that is now hanging from the beak of this bird compared to the seas and compared to the ocean. Meaning that even though you and I may be the two most knowledgeable people on the face of the planet, compared to the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's nothing. It is insignificant. And even that we have, it is only because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's fadl and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's takhassus and takhsis upon us. So the thing for us to understand is that we are not Musa and we are not Khidr. And the situation that we're dealing with right now, that is part of the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything that is happening, if you look at it this way, just to kind of like give a little bit of an insight into the scope of things, everything that now exists and moves and in this on this planet, every bit of it now causes it's causing some form of this cause and effect is taking place. So say for instance, if you have a lion that is hunting, and as that lion is hunting, right, and it's taking, whatever, a gazelle or whatever from a herd, that is a cause and it is having an effect. There is an impact from that. But when you look at even when you look at the human beings, you have 7 billion plus human beings. Out of those 7 billion plus human beings, each and every one of them, they exist only because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Each and every one of them has free will. So they are making decisions on a moment to moment basis. Each and every one of them, as they make those decisions, they are the means, they are a cause. They are a suburb of this cause. They are a means of this cause. Now, this trigger that is happening because that decision they're making. And with that trigger now comes the ripple of the effect. So you have 7 billion plus just from human beings. We're not talking about animals. We're not talking about insects or anything. We're not talking about jinn. We're talking about just human beings. So just with human beings, you have 7 billion plus um, ripples that are taking place throughout this world on a moment to moment basis, because everybody's making decisions. And as they make those decisions, there is going to be an effect. And those ripples, as those ripples spread out, they impact multiple people depending on who that person is. It is going to now, how broad are those ripples and that impact? How broad is it going to be? So, say for instance, a child, say for instance a small child deciding to do something is going to be different than, say for instance, a governmental leader, right? So the decision of a political figure or a governmental official, that their decision is going to have a broad sweeping impact over a multitude of people. So depending on who they are, what position they hold, and the actual thing itself, the decision itself, potentially it can impact billions. And we're not even talking about in that particular time. That ripple effect, it now expands beyond time itself. So now into the future, those ripple effects are going to be had, because as it impacts people, those people will go on living into the future, and those decisions will also go on living into the future. And now that ripple effect, it slowly cascades and now brings about this impact over a period of time and over the distances of place. Now, it may sound very complicated, and it is. And the whole point is to make you and I to understand, like Musa alayhi salam, that we have to understand that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the depth of control that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is controlling all of this, 7 billion plus people on the planet, Allah knows what's going on with each and every one of them. Allah knows about the decisions that they are making. Allah knows what resides within their alimun bidhati sudur. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in their chest. Allah knows what they're thinking. Allah knows about that internal dialogue that is taking place. You have all of these people, every sin, every thought, every emotion, all of it is taking place within the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only because of the will, the irada of one Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's control and the level and scope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's control is mind blowing. It is mind blowing. It is phenomenal. It is beyond human comprehension. That is Allah. And the situation that we're facing right now with this, why is this happening, or why is that happening, and when is this going to happen, and we have to be like Musa alayhi salam. And yes, even though we may have a certain level of knowledge, or whether that's about medicine or this or that or the other, at the end of the day, there has to come this peace, this salama that comes with, now that I'm trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because Allah is in control. I'm not going to be able to understand like the level of control that and domination that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has over his creation, and the tadbir, the organization and the planning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the hikmah and the wisdom and the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dealing with and molding the lives and handling the sets of circumstances of each and every one of those human beings that now exist on the face of this planet. And then also by default, also how that is going to impact those generations that are to come. That is beyond our scope of understanding. It is not even possible for you and I to understand that. So we have to. So this relinquishing this this notion of knowing what's going on, why this thing is happening, and what is the purpose of it. It's not even a possibility for you and I to understand at this point. It's just the depth of it and the scope of it is just so enormous, and mind blowing, that the notion itself that you and I would ask is foolish. And this is the part where you and I, where we have to engage in this humble submissiveness in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we never know what is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is planning for. Forget 1 year from now, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, of things, of if the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists that long into the future, however long it exists, it is going to have an impact. What you and I are doing today, it is having an impact into the future. So we have to step back and understand that this is more about me. It's more about me and my job and my family and my hopes and dreams and aspirations and what I want out of this dunya and my very short time period that I exist on the face of this planet. The scope of this matter far outreaches any of us and our own personal situations and our likes and dislikes and our ability to perceive and conceive and understand what exactly is going on within the tadbir of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is required from us is don't be like Musa alayhi salam. Don't ask questions. Accept the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is control. And just like we see at the end of the qissa, that when Khidr alayhi salam, we starts explaining everything, this is because of this, and this is because of this, and this is because of this, then, it's like, subhanAllah, now it all makes perfect sense. Same thing with Musa alayhi salam. And then anybody, the first time they read through that, and even there's a hadith of more or less the meaning that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if only Musa had remained silent, only if Musa had remained patient, what might we have learned? So the same thing goes for us now, that if we could just be silent and we can be patient, what might we learn? What doors of understanding and knowledge might Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open up for each and every one of us, or at least for those who are willing to make that effort to be submissive and humility and humble in front of Allah, and be patient with the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the fi'l and the actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if we do, then we will maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open up these doors of understanding, and with that understanding and that insight from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can hope to draw closer to Allah and be more obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah make it easy for all of us, just the same way with Musa alayhi salam, that it was extremely obviously it was difficult for him to remain quiet and to remain patient under the circumstances. It is also difficult for us to remain quiet and patient under these circumstances, but it doesn't remove that responsibility of making that effort to do just so. And this becomes one of those defining characteristics about where you and I stand in the sight of Allah. That's the reason why we call it a test. That are you willing to be patient? Are you willing to trust your Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are you willing to submit now to the amr of Allah and the irada, the order of Allah and the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and know that no matter what happens, it is always going to be the best for me. That my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never going to do anything to hurt me or to betray me. My actual concern should be for myself in the ways that I am hurting myself, self-sabotaging myself, and potentially damaging myself and my akhirah by doing anything other than obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the benefit from the Quran and from the stories of the Anbiya alayhim salatu wasalam that are in the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our hearts to the finer details of these stories, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to be able to, after gleaning this knowledge and information from these stories, that we are able to inculcate these lessons that we have learned and into our day-to-day lives and be able to benefit them. And by benefiting from them, we mean drawing closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi dunya wa fil akhirah. Jazakumullahu khair jaza wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yallah.